is it now? If everybody is open, you know it's open. Let's into what they want to do. Whatever. I don't know what they want. What is it crying for? Let's do it. No worries. Stay with them now. Stay with them.
Are you a mother, father, or you're involved in caring for children? If yes, then log in to Ask the Pediatricians Foundation Facebook page every Saturday by 10 a.m. to participate in ATP live group discussion on the popular child health topics such as dangerous child health practices, immunization, and child survival strategies. Don't miss ATP Live because it's informative, educative, and interactive. ATP Live,
program for all parents and carers of children.
Are you a mother, father, or you're involved in caring for children? If yes, then log in to Ask the Pediatricians Foundation Facebook page every Saturday by 10 a.m. to participate in ATP live group discussion on the popular child health topics such as dangerous child health practices, immunization, and child survival strategies. Don't miss ATP Live because it's informative, educative, and interactive. ATP Live,
program for all parents and carers of children.
Hello viewers, good morning everyone. Good morning and welcome to ATP Live. Good morning everyone, welcome to ATP Live. I hope everyone is having a wonderful Saturday. Please let's share with family or friends, share on your timeline, invite your family, keep sharing the video. Today we are going to be talking about newborn jaundice in neonatal, a newborn baby. And we are going to be having our doctor, Dr. Bemisola Boyode. She's the one that is going to be anchoring this. My name is Vivian Johnson. I will be the moderator for today. And today we are going to be inviting, our doctor is going to be here with us, the founder of Ask the Pediatrician, our able Dr. Bemi. Let's welcome her with a smile. Dr. Bemi, good morning, ma'am.
Yeah. Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here this morning. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us on Ask Pediatrician Live this morning. Thank you, Vivian. You're all welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Bemi. Dr. Bemi, we are going to be discussing on neonatal jaundice today, jaundice on newborn babies. Would you like to just share with us a little bit more why you picked this topic and what we need to know as parents concerning newborn jaundice?
Okay, thank you, Vivian. Before I start, I just want to encourage everyone, kindly share this video, kindly post it on your timeline, post it on every group you belong to so that other people can join us. And just for you to know that you can drop any question that you may have for me on neonatal jaundice in comments, and we'll be able to share your comments live and we can answer the questions. So thank you for joining us this morning. Please share the video as we start so that all the other members of the family can also partake in this learning session. Thank you so much. So back to our topic. Why are we talking about jaundice in the newborn? Jaundice basically means yellowish discoloration of the eye, of the sclera, the skin. When we say sclera, we're talking of the white part of the eyes, also the skin. And so once it's tinged yellow or yellowish green, we call that jaundice. And it can affect both adults and children. And there are different types of jaundice and there are different causes of jaundice. However, when we're talking about newborns, jaundice in this particular age group is so common, and at the same time it could be quite dangerous because in this age group the jaundice can cause brain damage, and when it causes brain damage it's a lifelong it can lead to lifelong disability for that child. And so that's why jaundice in the newborn period is quite important, that we detect it on time and that we treat it on time to prevent that brain damage. Is one of the reversible, preventable causes of brain damage in young children, and that is why it's important that we talk about it. Because if we don't talk about it, we will keep on having lots of children who have severe jaundice, who present late, and there's really nothing the pediatricians can do about it. And if you know us on Ask the Pediatricians about preventable causes of child disability and deaths, we are very big on that, and this is one of them, and that's why we're talking about it this morning. So if you have your question, you can just pop it in the comments and we'll be happy to take it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Bemi. Thank you everyone for joining us. Please share this video like Dr. have said, share on your timeline, share with your friends, share in the group that you have. We are going to be taking questions today, and Dr. Bemi is going to be answering our questions today. So if you have any question, please consign this topic, join this on newborn. So today we are going to be specific. So if you have any question, you bring in your question. Don't put on just put beneath the video so we can hear, we can see. If it's not under the video, we are not able to see it.
Yeah, so, if you are watching on the live part, if you are watching on the watch party and you have a question, it may be easier if you actually click on the video so that you actually go to the page of the video itself and drop your question there. And I also want to plead the indulgence of our ATP moderators, admin on the who are watching. Please, if we have questions on the watch party, and for those who may not be able to navigate their way to the page, can you help us to copy the questions and then drop it for us, and so that we can take it? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so while we are waiting for the questions, I'll just give you a little more overview of neonatal jaundice.
Okay,
so when we talk about neonatal jaundice, we're talking about jaundice in the newborn period. I deliberately did not use the word neonatal because I know some people will be confused what is neonatal, but jaundice in the newborn period, and that's what we're talking about. And neonatal period refers to the period between the first day of life to the first 28. So the first 28 days of life is what we call newborn period or neonatal period, and jaundice affecting babies in this period is what we call neonatal jaundice. Now, jaundice is the commonest condition in the newborn period. Jaundice is the commonest condition in the newborn period. In fact, about 60% of babies will have neonatal jaundice. And so it is quite common. It is more common for babies to have jaundice than for them not to have jaundice. However, majority of jaundice in this age group are what we call physiological jaundice. In other words, they are jaundice that are just due to some changes that the baby's body is undergoing, and those kind of changes don't cause any problem. But however, there are also some percentage of babies that will have the what we call the pathological jaundice, and this is jaundice that we affect that can become severe, and those are the ones that can lead to um, brain damage and things like that. So, but it's important for people to be able to recognize what is physiological jaundice and what is pathological jaundice. And because most times it is not something easy for us to know at the beginning whether this jaundice is going to be physiological or whether this jaundice is going to be pathological. So it is important that pediatricians and doctors, even mothers, know that we investigate jaundice so that we know whether this jaundice is a physiological one or is a pathological one. And that is why it is important that we don't just assume that, oh, this jaundice is physiological or this jaundice is pathological. Every jaundice must be investigated first, and then it is after that we can now begin to say, oh, this is a physiological jaundice and this is a pathological jaundice. So I will just pause here now, and
I think we have some questions. I think we have some questions already. Okay. This person is asking, Uchena Chukudi is asking, he said, is there any relationship between malaria in pregnancy and neonatal jaundice?
Okay, so I get these questions a lot because in Nigeria, malaria is so common, and people always think malaria leads to jaundice. In fact, because sometimes the words that people use in the local native language for jaundice and malaria kind of are close by. Okay, but let's just say for newborn babies, malaria does not cause jaundice in newborn. In other words, malaria in the mother in pregnancy will not lead to jaundice in the newborn baby. So a lot of people worry that if they have malaria in pregnancy, that the baby malaria in the mother is not one of the causes of jaundice in the newborn. So that is clear. So you don't have to worry. But it's important that malaria is prevented in pregnant mothers, because malaria in pregnant mothers can lead to shortage of blood, both for the mother, which can complicate delivery, and it can also lead to shortage of blood, what we call anemia, in the baby as well. And so that is why it's important that malaria is prevented in pregnancy, and if eventually even the mother still has malaria, it is promptly treated. In fact, all pregnant mothers in Nigeria are given what we call presumptive treatment for malaria. So whether they have malaria or not, they are treated for malaria twice in early pregnancy. So that is very, very important. But that does not mean because of the anemia part, not necessarily because of the jaundice part.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Bemi. I'm sure that question is answered now, and the
when you're asking your question, please try to keep it very short, not more than 140 characters, because when it's too long, it kind of can block the entire screen, and you won't be able to other people another. So please try keep your question straight to the point and as short as possible. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. Sandra Eze is asking, she said, good morning, Doctor. My son sweats a lot, even when the weather is very cold, though we sleep under mosquito nets. I noticed this since on Tuesday. Is there any need to worry, ma? Thanks so much for your good work.
Sandra, please ask questions about jaundice. If you have any other question that is not related to the topic, kindly go to our Facebook group and drop that separately. I think we need to develop this discipline that when you are asking questions on a live program, you ask questions that is related to what they are discussing. If you are not asking questions on what we are discussing, there is a platform for asking that question, and that is you go to our group, and on our group you post it, people will answer you. But today, I want to answer only questions that are on neonatal jaundice. Thank you so much.
Thank,
Yeah.
thank you, Sandra. Thank you so much, Doctor. I think we will take our next question now. Our next question is for Adibemi Ibukun. He said, what is the common cause of jaundice in children?
Okay, so thank you so much, Adebiyi Ibukun, for that question. So it's a very important question. Like I was saying before we started taking the question, when I was giving the overview, the commonest cause, most jaundice in newborns are what we call physiological jaundice. Now, what causes physiological jaundice? Physiological jaundice means the baby is when they are born, they have lots of red blood cells because when the baby was in the womb, the baby is getting all the oxygen and everything from the mother. And because of that, the baby needs to have a lot of red blood cells to be able to attract oxygen and every other thing it needs from the mother. So babies are usually born, they look very red. They have lots of excess red blood cells. But when they are born now, they're no longer getting things from the mother. They are now getting things directly from the uh from the
Breast milk.
wait, sorry. Excuse me. So they are no longer getting things directly from the mother, but directly from her. So they don't need as much red blood cells. So what they do is to break down all those excess red blood cells. Okay, so it is that breakdown of the excess red blood cells which the body has to take away, and that is where the jaundice is coming from, because it is from that breakdown of that excess red blood cells that the bilirubin is produced. And
Okay.
the liver, which normally clears off this breakdown product, is in a newborn baby, is also immature. It's not as fully functional like that of a matured adult. So because of that, the liver may not be able to quickly clear off all those breakdown products. I'm trying to use as simple terms as possible, not to
As
confuse
possible.
others. And
Yes,
what I'm
ma'am.
describing is what we call the pathology of jaundice. So
Okay.
it is the liver is not as quick in clearing it out. So those pigments now develop what we call into bilirubin, and that is what stains the eyes
Yes,
yellow, and that is
yes.
what is causing the jaundice.
The
So, but
jaundice. Okay.
in physiological one, within a few days, the liver, all those excess red blood cells are cleared. The liver too is able to clear it off, and it will go away. So that is what causes the physiological jaundice that most babies will have now. But sometimes there are conditions that could make that process difficult, or that could worsen the normal process. In some babies, they have some conditions that is causing their own red blood cells to break down too so frequently. We call them hemolytic process. In other words, for some reasons, the red blood cells are breaking down so much. Like, for example,
Okay.
in babies where there's what we call ABO incompatibility, the mother's is maybe O positive, the baby is A or B.
Oh,
The mother's antibodies that enter into the baby's blood, they begin to fight the baby's blood. And so the rate of breakdown in that particular baby is higher compared to that of the average in normal newborn baby that is just clearing off the excess red blood cells. Also, some babies have what we call also talking about blood group, like if a mother is rhesus negative and she has a rhesus positive baby, and for one reason or the other, maybe she has had a previous pregnancy of a rhesus positive baby, or she has developed antibodies against rhesus positive. So, and that antibodies kind of enter into the baby's own blood during delivery and all that. It's going to break down the red blood cells so much, and that will also worsen jaundice in that
yes.
particular baby. So those are the common causes of jaundice. Also, when baby have infections, what we call neonatal sepsis, for whatever reasons, it can also cause jaundice. Babies that are born premature because all those physiological processes that I've talked about in premature babies, they are even exaggerated. So they are also prone to having what we call jaundice of prematurity. So those are the common causes of jaundice. And we also have what we call GCPD deficiency. babies that have GCP deficiency, when they are exposed to agents that can trigger off hemolysis, like camphor, naphthalene balls, and things like that, they also break down that red blood cells more than normal. So that could also lead to jaundice. Then if there are problems with the liver itself, if the baby has a diseased liver or has some conditions in that liver that could make the liver not be able to do its own work, then those are the things that cause jaundice. So the top 5 causes are the blood group incompatibility, either AB incompatibility or rhesus incompatibility, or infections, prematurity, GCPD deficiency. But there are so many like the ones that are one causes of jaundice, but those are the common causes of jaundice. Okay.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much, Doctor.
Yes.
Thank you, Doctor. She's still asking again. She said, how can pregnant women prevent it?
Yeah, that's a very important question. Now, there are jaundice that are preventable, and there are jaundice that are not preventable. So, if you listen to my answer, uh, if you listen to my previous answer about the causes of jaundice, you would have figured it out that there are some jaundice that are preventable and there are some jaundice that are not preventable. Things like blood group incompatibility, for example, there's really nothing you can do so that I mean, if you're a rhesus negative mother who already married a rhesus positive husband, there are things we can do when you've had the baby to prevent jaundice in subsequent babies. And so we have things like the Rogam injection that can be given. So that is one way of preventing jaundice for your future babies. If you are ABO, there's really nothing we can do about it. In other words, if you are O positive and your baby, maybe you married an A or a B person, and some of your babies can be O, that'll be fine. But some of your babies can be A or B. There's really nothing we can do about it. For GCPD, you need to avoid those trigger factors. So that's why we always tell mothers there's no need to all those camphor balls that you put in babies' clothes and things like that. It is usually not good for jaundice, so you may want to avoid that. But otherwise, apart from avoiding the trigger factor, there's nothing we can do. Prematurity can be avoided, making sure that you don't deliver babies too early. If you can do that, that will also help. So it is not every case of jaundice that is preventable. Some are preventable, but unfortunately there are some that cannot be prevented. But that is what we call about primary prevention. But if you look at the secondary prevention, now we're talking about once the baby has jaundice, the most important thing is to detect the jaundice early, because the jaundice is not even our problem per se. The jaundice is not the problem. The problem is the brain damage. So what we want to prevent really is brain damage. We don't want the baby's brain to be damaged. So that means even if we can't prevent the jaundice, as long as we pick up on the jaundice and we treat the jaundice promptly, then the baby is not going to have brain damage. And because no matter whether we treat or not, because I'm still going to answer that question because I can see somebody is asking me already. Whether we treat the jaundice or not, jaundice will go away in newborn babies. Max 2 weeks, they will go away. So it is not the jaundice that's our problem, but the brain damage that the jaundice would have caused. And that is what we're trying to prevent. And that is time bound. We talk about brain and we talk about time. Brain is one of those organs that it has what we call time. It's time. Time gone, brain gone. In other words, if you don't do those things promptly, we can clear jaundice, but the brain is gone already. The brain does not wait. It's just like the same thing a baby who didn't cry at birth. You have 4 minutes. After 4 minutes, brain is gone. The same thing when you talk about nutrition. If your baby makes essential nutrition for the brain at those first 3 years of life, you may give all those things after 3 years of life. Brain is gone. You can't. Brain is one of those organs that you can't easily recover. That's why I'm very passionate and talking about it, because once the brain is gone, it is gone. So when it comes to jaundice, jaundice will eventually clear whether we treat it or not, but the brain may be gone. So our focus is to make sure that we don't allow that jaundice to get to the level that damage the brain, and that is the most important thing. So the most important thing for us is not even to prevent jaundice from happening, but to prevent the jaundice from causing brain damage.
Brain damage.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you. Falito Kabar is asking, what's the treatment?
Yes, so talking about treatment for jaundice. Now, there are two different kind of jaundice. Again, I don't want to go into too much of the medical jargons, but there's what we call the conjugated jaundice. There's what we call the unconjugated jaundice. It is the unconjugated jaundice really that can enter the brain, and that's the one that can actually cause brain damage. So that one, the treatment available for it, depending on the level. So there are like 3 different levels of what we do for jaundice. There's a level of jaundice that we don't even treat. Remember what I said, that jaundice is not the problem. It is the brain damage that we're worried about. So there's a level of jaundice that maybe we have that is what we call the physiological level. Like that physiological jaundice I'm talking about, we usually don't treat it. We just leave it alone. It will clear on its own. So if your baby is having jaundice level like 5, but depending on the day that we pick up that level of jaundice as well. So if you pick it up on the first day of life, any jaundice in the first day of life we call it pathological jaundice. Something is wrong, because most of those physiological jaundice start happening from like the 3rd day of life, and it will peak around like the 5 to 7 days of life usually, and it would never go beyond 12. The serum bilirubin level will never go beyond 12 milligram per DL, and it will just clear on its own. So if I check your level of jaundice on the 5th day of life, for example, and the baby's jaundice level is 10, I'm not going to put that baby under phototherapy. I'm not going to do anything. I'll just tell you, go home, come back again in 2 days, so that I will check it whether it's coming down again. If it is coming down, then I know I'm dealing with physiological jaundice and I don't need to treat. So there's the jaundice level that we don't treat if it's physiological jaundice, but there's a level of jaundice that we need to put the baby under what we call phototherapy light. So we put the baby under phototherapy. Phototherapy basically is that the light converts the jaundice from the unconjugated, the type that can damage the brain, to the conjugated type that cannot damage the brain, that can be excreted out of the body system. So that's what psychotherapy does, and it's very effective, especially if we start it early. Then there's also the level of jaundice that we need to take the blood out of the baby immediately. We need to do what we call exchange blood transfusion. In other words, we take out your baby's whole blood. In fact, we take it out twice, double volume. We take it out twice and replace it with fresh blood, because that level of jaundice is already going to damage the brain. So those are the 3 main treatments of jaundice. Also, we also treat the underlying cause. For example, if it is due to infection, we will treat the infection with antibiotics. But please note that most jaundice are not due to infection. So this habit or practice where people just give every baby has jaundice, they give ampiclos. I will still talk about the dangerous practices when it comes to jaundice later. I hope we have time to do that. But please, ampiclos is not the treatment for jaundice. It is only for babies that have infection as the underlying cause of jaundice that require antibiotics. Most babies don't even have infection. So if your baby is ABO incompatibility that is causing the jaundice, I'm not going to give your baby antibiotics. If your baby has rhesus, he or she doesn't need antibiotics. So those are the treatment. But if there are other causes of jaundice, those ones that are due to liver problems, there are different ways. In fact, some of them may require what we call surgery. Like babies that have what we call biliary atresia. The liver is not properly formed. The pipe inside the liver that should take out the jaundice, they are not properly formed. So those kind of babies, they will require surgery to treat their own kind of jaundice. So it depends on, but luckily for us, those ones are not very common. They are rare and all that. Then there's another type of jaundice we call breast milk jaundice and breastfeeding jaundice, which I forgot to mention when I was talking about causes of jaundice. It is important that mothers breastfeed, because breast milk helps to clear out what we call those tools in the baby, the meconium, which contains a high level of bilirubin, and if they are not cleared out, they just keep recirculating and they can cause jaundice. So this is one of the reasons why you also need to breastfeed, so that your baby's meconium can be passed out, and that will reduce their chances of having jaundice, and that's what we call breastfeeding jaundice. But there's also breast milk jaundice. There are some babies that have persistent jaundice, and we've checked. There's really nothing wrong. There's nothing else. Sometimes it may be the breast milk causing the jaundice. It's not so common, but it can happen. And what we normally need to do, we stop the breastfeeding for 24 hours, 48 hours, and the jaundice will crash immediately. Immediately we do that, we know it's breast milk jaundice, but we tell you to continue to breastfeed because we know it's not going to cause any kind of brain damage. So those are the ways by which we treat jaundice. Thank you.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you very much, doctor. Ioma Hikewaba is asking, please, is it true that it is untreated malaria on the mother that causes jaundice in newborn? I think doctor has answered it earlier.
Yeah, it is not true, woman. You're just joining us. I've answered that already. I don't know why people think that's the only thing that causes jaundice or the cause of jaundice. Like I've already said, there are 1,001 causes of jaundice. Out of even the top 5 in our own environments in Africa, in Nigeria, malaria is not even one of them.
Okay, thank you very much, doctor. Obeta Jani is asking, I can't normally detect this jaundice, but at times I see a brown color around my baby's black eyes. Is that jaundice?
How old is your baby, Obetala? Because your jaundice that we're worried about is in the first newborn period. So it's not something that you should be continuously saying. Brownish is not jaundice as well. Jaundice is yellow and yellowish green. So, and let me just clearly say that mothers you can't detect jaundice. Mothers are not, you are not sufficiently equipped. By the time your mother is picking up jaundice, that jaundice is high because you normally pick up jaundice when it is showing in the eyes. But we pediatricians, we pick up jaundice on the skin, not in the eye, because by the time the sclera is turning yellow, it is eye jaundice. And that is why pediatricians, even sometimes we are not sure. I'm sure some of you, if you've ever seen me treat your baby or any of the other pediatricians, you will see us taking the baby to the normal lights. We don't use the artificial light. We will blanch the skin and look. We will press it, look, and see whether the skin. And sometimes we are not sure. In fact, sometimes we just, like there's a hospital I work, we just test all the babies for jaundice. 24 hours we take blood. We just do it. And luckily for us, we now have what we call the transcutaneous bilirubin, because one of the things that normally make the mothers upset with us is that pricking their newborn, very precious newborn babies and taking blood from their mothers. So no, they don't like it.
No.
Right? We think that the one we are taking the blood from. So, but luckily for us now, we have what we call the transcutaneous bilirometer. So it is just a machine. We put it on the skin. We don't need to take blood, and we can pick out the level of jaundice in your baby. If it's a level that worries us, then we'll go and take blood. If it's a level that is not so worrisome, we'll leave it. So most pediatric hospitals now use the transcutaneous bilirubinometer to check for jaundice. But please, mothers, you are not supposed to check jaundice. We, the pediatricians, should check jaundice. And if you deliver in a hospital where they don't check for jaundice, please take your baby to see a pediatrician. It's very, very important because sometimes mothers go home and they are more interested in the naming ceremony. And even though it takes when matured, experienced mothers come, thank God for experienced mothers, at least they have their own role. They will now think this baby is looking yellow, and that's when, okay, let's wait until after naming ceremony. Remember what I said? Time gone, brain gone. So if the baby has jaundice that needs to be treated on day 2 or day 3, and you are coming on day 8, we will treat the jaundice, but the brain of that baby may not be recovered again. And so that's very, very important. And that's one of the reasons that in some hospitals, they don't discharge babies until after 72 hours, because most jaundice that will be severe or that will cause severe brain damage would have started in the first 3 days. Usually, if we don't pick jaundice in the first 3 days, it's not, though jaundice can still happen, but it's very unlikely to be the severe type. So usually we want, and even when we discharge you, that's one of the reasons we ask you to come back maybe in 48 hours. If your baby has jaundice, even though it's low, we want to check again to make sure it's not rising. If it's not rising, we are more reassured. If it is rising, then we may need to start treatment immediately. Yeah.
Thank you very much, doctor. And Rosemary Yemisi is asking, how can I prevent jaundice in a baby while pregnant? I think doctor has taken this.
Yes, so jaundice in babies, not all are preventable. And for pregnant women, really, there's nothing you can do for pregnancy. When you talk about pregnancy, there's really nothing you can do. But if you are a resource, the people that are really important for me to send out a message is that if you're a resource negative mother, you must know your blood group as a mother in pregnancy. And if you're resource negative, there's a test your doctor needs to do to know whether you've been sensitized, even if it's your first baby, to know whether you've been exposed to a resource positive blood. And if you have been exposed, then they will know that they need to prepare to give you Rogan. Depending on the age of your pregnancy, it's a little bit complex. That will do that. But basically, if you have a resource positive baby, we need to give you Rogan to prevent your next baby, if the baby is also resource positive, from having severe jaundice from resource incompatibility. So that's very important. But otherwise, make sure you go for antenatal so you don't have a premature baby, because premature babies are also prone to having jaundice. And otherwise, I don't think there's much you can do as a pregnant mother. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, doctor. And Shagun is asking, good job, ma'am. How can we manage jaundice to prevent cerebral palsy? That's brain damage.
Yes, like I said, the most important thing to prevent brain damage, which will lead to cerebral palsy, is to make sure that we pick the jaundice on time. If we pick the jaundice on time, no matter how bad it is, we will change the blood, then we'll put the baby under light. We'll be very, very aggressive. But the reason why most of our babies in Nigeria, especially, end up in some countries like US and UK, they really don't have that cerebral palsy causing jaundice, except in some maybe people that just come into their system. Reason being that when we pick up jaundice on time, most of them, the midwives, home health visitors come to the house to check the babies, even in the first 1 week. So they are checking that the baby doesn't have jaundice. And if the baby has jaundice, they are very aggressive. So the problem with us in Nigeria is that we don't have that health visiting system. And that's why some of us prefer to keep the baby in the hospital. The pediatricians will keep the baby in the hospital for the first 72 hours. And so that we pick up the jaundice and we treat it immediately. The most important thing is to treat the jaundice immediately. As long as we are treating the jaundice immediately, the babies will be fine. But if we don't pick up jaundice, most Nigerian mothers will not come to the hospital on time. Some will be using what they call pawpaw water. They will say, oh, jaundice, just give pawpaw water. It's one of the reasons why we're having high cases of cerebral palsy due to jaundice. Some will be saying, let's just put the baby to light. Like I said, there's a level of jaundice that putting the baby to light, which is a principle of phototherapy, will work. But there's a level that I need to go and take out that baby's blood immediately. How will you know? The only way you will know is when we have taken blood sample. And that is one of the reasons why it is important to take the baby to the hospital and make sure that the baby is properly treated. And so as long as we pick it up on time, we treat it, then there'll be no cause of the brain damage, and there'll be no reason for the child to have cerebral palsy.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. Uchenna Chukwudi is asking, said, Doctor, thanks for your clarification. Why is it that some children are having it at birth, while some same parents don't? Okay, what he's trying to say that siblings,
Yeah, so some children have it, some children may not have it, because it is not compulsory. Like I said, there's a level of jaundice that is just physiological jaundice. Most babies have that. 60% of babies will have jaundice. So it's quite common. It's the commonest condition in newborn babies. So, but some babies, their liver or their body is able to handle their jaundice well. The breakdown is not so much. So they don't have it showing up, because for you to even see the jaundice, it must be at least like 5 milligrams per day. In other words, there's a level which you can even see jaundice in the skin. There's a level of jaundice that is not so bad that you won't see, and there's even no reason to worry. And there's some babies that have some of these other conditions that I've talked about. Of course, they are going to have jaundice. So it is not compulsory everybody will have it. And some babies, some mothers, all their babies will have jaundice, because, like, for example, if you're an O positive mother married to an A or a B man, most likely if all your babies were picking your husband's blood group, they're all going to have jaundice. But if you are an O mother married to an O man, all your babies are O positive, and there's no other problem, you may never have issues with jaundice. So it varies. It's because of the various possible underlying causes of jaundice. So some will have it and some may not have it.
Okay, thank you very much, doctor, for clearing that. Adekule is asking, how can we treat this jaundice in children? I think doctor has answered this before.
We've answered
You have
that.
answered this few minutes ago. Okay, Uchena is asking again, can a mom with O positive and a husband of A positive have a jaundice baby?
Yes, because they can have a positive baby, and if a mother with O positive baby has um has what we call a mother whose blood group is O positive has a baby that is A positive, then that mother is likely going to have uh, we call it ABO setting for ABO incompatibility. It's not automatic that a baby will still have jaundice. So let's get that right. But the mother has an ABO incompatibility setting. So what happens is that if the mother's blood antibodies now attack the baby's blood, then the baby will have jaundice. But some may not have it, some may have it. So some may have the setting and no jaundice, but some will eventually go on to have the jaundice. All right.
Okay, thank you very much, Doctor. Okay, Felicia is asking, how can we treat it? And
We've
Doctor
answered
has answered this few minutes ago. Mayowa Folashade is asking, can jaundice be prevented while pregnant? If yes, how?
You've
I
already
think Doctor
answered.
has answered this earlier. Samson Duro Jaye, is there any ambient control that facilitate jaundice clearing?
I'm not sure I
Oh,
understand what
I'm not sure I
Samson.
understand that question
Please,
as
this
well.
is when you're asking me questions so that I can flow with you.
Is asking again, the same sense is asking, in grassroots community, is there any
Okay.
management if phototherapy are not available, ma'am?
So in grassroots, so when we say grassroots community, we're talking about the PhD system. So in those settings, the most important thing is to pick up the journalists. No matter how grassroots that place is, they will have a link to what we call a comprehensive health center or a general hospital. That's the idea. Because the health system in Nigeria is built into a three tier health system. So we have what we call the primary health care, the secondary health care, and the tertiary health care. So the primary health care in the community, the village health worker, the community health workers, they are supposed to pick up the jaundice and then they are supposed to refer. So if all the community have their own comprehensive health center, we should be equipped with a doctor with phototherapy because there's no other way to go about it. One of our doctors is working on developing a solar system that can power phototherapy machine. In other words, we don't need electricity and all that.
Electricity to
Hopefully
run
that will
that.
help. So, but basically, then in some places they also have what we call this oxygen tents. I mean, sorry, phototherapy tents, which can use the sunlight to kind of treat,
Okay.
convert it to phototherapy,
The,
and it's
okay.
working beautifully well. So, but bottom line is that in those grassroots communities, these children should be referred to a center that have the phototherapy machine. At most, every state should have a general hospital that have phototherapy machine. So there's no way around it rather than if you can't treat the jaundice, refer the child. Do the SB level. If it's something that is not high, then that's fine. If it's something high, then that child needs to be referred to a tertiary hospital, a secondary level that can handle it. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, Doctor. Uchena is asking again, how can infection cause jaundice? Is it untreated infection from mom's genital or from where?
Okay, so I think Risha is wondering what's the way? How does a newborn baby have infections? It's why
Infection.
don't there are many ways that newborn babies can have infection. They can have it from the mothers, from the womb, even from the womb. In fact, there are some causes of jaundice we call touches infection, but luckily most of them cause the conjugated kind of jaundice. So touches infection are infection due to toxoplasmosis, herpes, cytomegalovirus infection, and things like that. Those jaundice, the infection actually happen in the mother when the baby is in the womb. So infections in the mother can affect the baby in the womb and can cause jaundice. Sometimes during delivery, if the mother has if the mother has had, if the mother herself had infection, she's having fever, she's having urinary tract infection, vaginal discharge, it can be transferred to the baby. Also, the method of delivery, if it's not in a clean environment, the baby is not, the cord is not properly cared for, those are the entry points for infection into the baby. So those are the different ways by which babies can have infection, and that's it. So there are many ways the baby can have infection, and this infection can lead to jaundice in the newborn. I hope that helps, Uchenna.
Thank you very much, Doctor. I hope that clears. Ife Dolapo is asking, good morning, Doctor. I must commend you for your great work you're doing. And I have a question for a child of 7 years that has cold all the time. What can one do? Well, that's not in our topic
Post
today.
on our group. Today we're talking about jaundice. All right. Post on the Ask the Pediatrician Facebook group, and somebody will answer your question immediately. But for now, let's talk about jaundice in the newborn.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Dr. Cordelia is asking, he said, good morning, Doctor. What is the effect of morning sunlight, bracket vitamin D, on a week-old child diagnosed for safe level of jaundice?
Okay, so there are many questions to ask. Number one, jaundice baby being exposed to sunlight as much, it's not because of the vitamin D. No, it's not because of vitamin D. So it is about the light itself, the phototherapy light. So we're using there's a wavelength of light that we're using from the sun, which is exactly what we also do to treat. So it's a treatment for jaundice. Then what do you mean by safe level of jaundice? So pediatricians, we don't recommend early morning light for you, because we need to check the level of jaundice first. So if we check the level of jaundice and we think the baby's level of jaundice is low, there's no reason for you to expose the baby to any sunlight. Just leave the baby alone. And usually most pediatricians will check it again in 2 days to know whether the level that is safe today is still safe. Because jaundice can rise and it can go down. So because it depends on at what level we're checking. So if we are checking and we think the jaundice is already down, then we're happy. So, but we need to check again to make sure that it is not still going up, but it's coming down. And so that's what we normally need to do. So if your pediatrician or doctor have told you that the baby's level of jaundice is not so high, there's no need for you to go and expose the baby to sunlight, but go back, let them check it in 2 days and make sure that the jaundice level is not rising. It's still low. Because there are some babies that even when we discharge them and then we ask them to come back in 48 hours, when we check it again, it starts breathing up again, then we'll readmit the baby and put back under the light. So, but usually we don't, there's no reason for you to go and be exposing the baby to sunlight. That's what I would say, yeah.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Queen is asking, he said, I had a baby who had jaundice and had to get a transfusion, which resulted in cerebral palsy, who later passed away. What is the possibility of my next baby having jaundice?
I'm very sorry to hear about that, Queen, and condolences about your baby. That's actually the reason why we're having this discussion. We don't want our babies having severe jaundice causing brain damage, and we don't want them dying. So you need to tell me, number one, what is the cause of your baby's jaundice, because that will help me to know whether it's the type that can happen again, or the type, if you are, for example, if it's due to ABO, red cells, those can happen again. But if it's due to maybe infection or prematurity, if you don't have another premature baby, if you don't have a baby with infection again, then it may not happen again. So I'm sure your doctors must have told you the cause of your baby's jaundice. So if you tell you can pop it in again, and I will see whether I can tell you whether your baby can have jaundice again. But I'll just say just be prepared. But the most important thing for you, which is what I would recommend, is that when you have your next baby, please don't leave the hospital on time. You really need to stay in the hospital at least for the first 72 hours and let them check for jaundice. So that when they check, and make sure you deliver in a proper hospital, a hospital that has phototherapy, a hospital that has pediatricians who can do the right thing immediately. So that's another thing. If you deliver in that kind of a setting and knowing that you've had a baby with severe jaundice, who had brain damage and who eventually passed on, they will be more proactive, they will be more aggressive with making sure that your baby is tested And if they pick up the jaundice, they are going to start treating it as soon as possible. And if they do that, really, even if it's something that can happen again, your baby will be fine, and your baby should not develop cerebral palsy or die.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much, Doctor. Mohammed is asking, Doctor, please, what does it mean if it is written in a discharge summary that a baby has mild jaundice? Billy check 6.7 mg stroke DL on day 2 of life. No tension was raised in the hospital. Is there any need to worry?
No. So that means your baby has what we call the physiological jaundice. Like I told you, physiological jaundice tends to start on day 2, day 3, and it will peak at about day 5 to 7, and by day 14 max, it will should have disappeared before day 12 or thereabout. So level of 6.7 is still within what we call physiological jaundice level. For me, I would have checked it again for your baby, maybe in another 48 hours. Just check your baby again for 48 hours to make sure that it's not rising, and then check. But if your pediatrician is comfortable, your baby is. But that level at the time your baby was discharged is a physiological jaundice level, so there's no reason for you to worry. But I guess they should just have maybe check it once again and making sure it's not like that.
Okay, thank you very much, Doctor.
Yeah. The same person.
Is the same person. Okay, thank you, Doctor. Samson is here again. He said, which environment is conducive for a child that has mild level of jaundice?
Okay, so Samson, thank you for speaking to me in a simple English. There's nothing about the environment that has to do with jaundice. Jaundice has nothing to do with the environment. So the same environment we recommend for every baby, whether with jaundice or without jaundice, is fine. So we recommend that baby stay in a room that is well ventilated, so the windows are open and they have cross ventilation, and that's what we want. Pediatricians generally, we are not recommending you just go and be keeping every baby under sunlight. We don't, because for us it's either the jaundice needs to be treated or the jaundice does not need to be treated. If the jaundice does not require any treatment, then just leave the baby alone. But if the jaundice is the level that requires treatment, we are going to keep you in the hospital and put your baby under phototherapy light, because we have more control over phototherapy lights than over sunlight. And sunlight can also cause sunburns and things like that. So even when people are exposed to sunlight, it's supposed to be early morning. Early morning, because sometimes people forget the early morning part and just think, just go and put baby in the 12 noon or hot sun. No, it is early morning. It's the lights. It's not the burning. It's not the heat. It's not the sun. It's the lights that we're interested in. So, but usually most pediatricians, if your baby needs to be treated for jaundice, we are going to put baby under phototherapy. We're not going to say go and put under sunlight. So that's what we will do. All right. Okay. Our time is
Thank you very much, Doctor. Jolomi is asking. He said, what causes jaundice in the first place? I think Doctor has answered this before.
What would I recommend for those who are just joining late and asking some of the questions that I've already answered? Just watch the videos all over again so that you will get the answer to your question. Because if you keep repeating the same question, the same answer, we're not going to finish this broadcast. So, but if you immediately this broadcast ends, you can watch the video all over again. And if at the end of the broadcast you still have questions, please don't put it under the broadcast, because we will not be able to take those questions live. Please post them directly on our Facebook group, Ask the Pediatrician Facebook group. If you just go on Facebook and put Ask the Pediatricians, you will land in our group, and you can join the group, and then you can post your question. And when we will approve it, we will answer it for you, and then that will be the way to go, because we're going to soon stop in another 5 minutes or thereabout.
Okay. Thank you very much, Doctor. Good morning, Doctor. Can a baby with jaundice be circumcised?
Yes, there's no contraindication to circumcision and jaundice, but I will imagine that if your baby has severe jaundice and your baby is still in the hospital being treated, I mean, circumcision is going to be the last thing on your pediatrician's mind. So we will not.
Even on the mother's mind.
So circumcision, and let me just ship it in that circumcision is not an urgency. I don't know why mothers always ask me that question. Oh, can my baby is sick? Can it be circumcised? No, circumcision is not an urgency. You can circumcise any time in the newborn period. So the first 1 or 2 weeks doesn't mean you have to do it. Okay, religious wise, I know for religious reasons, some people have to circumcise on the 7th or the 8th day or something, but for me, your health of your baby is priority. There are some cultures that don't even circumcise at all. So it's not an emergency, basically. That's what we're saying. So in other words, if your baby has severe jaundice and we're treating, circumcision is the last thing we want to be talking about. So when your baby is fine, the jaundice has been cleared, then you can go for circumcision. It doesn't mean that the circumcision will ask anything. It doesn't mean that if your baby has jaundice and you circumcise, there'll be a problem. No, but I don't think it's an emergency. I think the jaundice to me is the emergency. And let me just also state that jaundice in newborn is an emergency because people don't realize that. Because if you look at jaundice as jaundice and brain, then it will help you to realize that you really reset. Jaundice is an emergency in the newborn until we have taken the blood level and until we have ruled out that this jaundice is not severe jaundice, it is still an emergency. And that is when you pick up jaundice, please go to the hospital, and that's what we need to do. Okay, I think this is the last question.
Doctor.
I have
Thank
answered.
you, doctor. Good morning, doctor. Please, what are the ways to prevent jaundice in pregnancy? I would just say to you, Olawumi, we have answered this question before. Later, you go back to the video and start from the beginning. Then, doctor discussed and actually told us the prevention from jaundice. I think you'll find it helpful.
Yeah, last question. Okay, this is too long. Keep your question short.
Okay, let me just read this. Good morning, ma. I gave birth to a baby last year and he came with jaundice. Doctor said it was biliary atresia and referred me to another hospital. Okay, after going back and forth and being on admission for almost a month, he eventually lost the baby at 4 months. Should I be worried about getting pregnant again?
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Latifat. We're very sorry about the loss of your baby. But remember when I was talking about the causes of jaundice, I talked about the causes of jaundice due to problem in the liver, and I did mention the case of the condition your baby had, which is biliary atresia. What your baby really needed was surgery, and that surgery will be done by the pediatric surgeons, and it has to be done early. It has to be done quickly and early because sometimes for some baby, depending on how severe it is, baby may even need a liver transplant, or if it's not done early, I think it must be done within the first 2 weeks or so of life. So I guess your baby was not done on time because after a while, if it's not done on time, what the baby needs now is a liver transplant, which is quite a very complex surgery, and getting a liver is quite challenging. And so I'm sure maybe that's why you lost your baby. Sorry about that. But it's not like it's going to happen again. It is not that very common. It's very a real thing. So don't be afraid of getting pregnant again. Get pregnant again, and please, this time around, maybe you should deliver in a teaching hospital so that if they pick it up, they won't have to be sending you up and down. You are already in a tertiary setting where the surgeons or those people that would need to do those kind of intervention, they can do it for you. So don't be afraid. I believe that God will not allow that to happen again. My condolences about that. Okay.
That's the last question.
Okay, can a baby with jaundice be losing weight? Okay, no, jaundice has nothing to do with weight. And we are talking about newborn jaundice. We're talking about jaundice in the first 28 days of life. So I'm not expecting your baby to be losing weight, unless you are not breastfeeding or those ones, but basically that. Okay, so I'm just going to summarize now. We've been talking about jaundice in the newborn period, and I need to make some things. Sorry, I just need to get this right. Okay, so we've been talking about jaundice in the newborn period, and there are some things I just really need to emphasize as round off. Number one, take-home message is that jaundice is an emergency. So when a newborn baby is born, it is important that that baby is checked for jaundice. So if you deliver in a tertiary hospital, most likely there's a pediatrician. The pediatrician always see every baby before they go home, and one of the things the pediatrician is checking for is jaundice. If you deliver in an hospital without a pediatrician, the doctor should check your baby for jaundice. If your baby is delivered, if you are in those hospitals that when your baby has been delivered, they discharge you home that same day or the following day, It is important that you take your baby back to the hospital within 72 hours for them to check again whether your baby has jaundice or not. It's important. Because if your baby has jaundice, then they need, and I see a lot of mothers telling me, my baby has jaundice, and the doctor just told me, go and give ampiclox. That is a wrong, I don't know what the grammar to use now, the wrongest thing to do. If your baby has jaundice, if anybody ever tell you, a doctor, a nurse, a healthcare professional tell you your baby has jaundice, look jaundice, they must take blood. They must check the level of that jaundice, because that's the only way we will know whether it's a level for you not to worry about or whether it's a level for you to worry about. They must take blood. And most of the time, people will say, maybe I have jaundice, the doctor just told me to go and use ampiclox, and they will come back to us on after the naming ceremony on day 8 or day 9. And what is happening at that time is that the jaundice has gotten to the level, we do blood level, jaundice is 40. Jaundice don't just go from 0 to 40, because most mothers will tell us, oh, the jaundice started yesterday. We all know it's not true, because if jaundice started yesterday, it's not going to be 40 on day 2. It has been, but nobody was doing anything. And by the time jaundice is above 20, that is the level that's caused brain damage. Oh, so that's why when you come to us, we check the level. If it's below 20 in a full term baby, we put your baby under light. If it's above 20, we are changing the blood, because it can cause brain damage. Many people did not ask me about the myths associated with jaundice, but I will tell you, because I know. Jaundice is not caused by wearing yellow cloths for the baby, because most mothers always think, oh, it is a yellow cloth you're wearing.
Yes, I've heard that.
Yellow cloth does not cause jaundice. Though sometimes if you wear yellow cloth, your eyes can reflect the yellow cloth, like what I'm wearing now, and it will look as if the eye is yellow. That one is not jaundice, because when we take baby away from yellow cloth and all that, we will still see the eyes whether it's yellow. So jaundice is not caused by yellow cloth. Jaundice is not treated by pawpaw water. Please, if your baby has jaundice, the blood level must be taken, and you must see a doctor, preferably a pediatrician, because sometimes some doctors don't even know how to check doesn't know which level of jaundice to be worried about. And there are some fake labs that do all sorts of things. When you give them to do serum bilirubin, they don't do it properly, because there's a way to do it, and they will just write that the level is normal in a baby who is looking so yellow, and we know that is not. So I personally would recommend you go to a standard hospital, preferably a government hospital, a general hospital, a teaching hospital, or a standard private hospital with a pediatrician. Let them check the level of the jaundice, and let them tell you, oh, this level is fine. This level we need to put under for the therapy. This level we need to exchange the blood. It's important. And if your baby has jaundice, don't go and give pawpaw water. Don't give herbs. Take that baby to the hospital and let the baby be properly treated. Remember, jaundice is not our problem. Jaundice will go away, but it could have left its impact by causing brain damage, and that is the most important thing. I can see the last question. Jaundice does not cause autism. If your child has a developmental challenge, it's better you go to the pediatrician first. Let them check it. Jaundice is not. Jaundice does not cause autism and all that. And when jaundice has caused brain damage, that it will lead to like cerebral palsy, etc. So basically, the bottom line, if there's only one message you're going to take away from me to this morning, is that jaundice is an emergency in the newborn period, and it must be treated. It must be discovered. It must be treated.
Okay. Thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you for teaching us today. We are glad to have you today, and we have really learned a lot. And I hope everyone has learned. Let's keep sharing this video so that everyone will see. Go back and listen again. Thank you very much.
All right. Okay, before we go, I just want to share with us that this program has been brought to you by Ask the Pediatrician. And if you have any questions, we are very happy to take your questions. We have a Facebook group. If you go on our Facebook group, you can always ask the pediatricians your question. Pop it in live and direct. If you don't want your question, if you don't want to be shown, it's something personal, you want to be anonymous, send it to our email on ask at the Pediatricians as a single word.com, and we'll be able to take it from you. And we are also on YouTube. If you want to watch our previous ATP live videos, you can watch it on YouTube. All our previous ATP live videos you can watch on YouTube, and you can also go to our website if you want to read about child health issues generally. We are on www.askthepediatricians.com. And ITP is an agency of Ask the Pediatricians Foundation. And beyond what we do on Facebook, beyond our online health education platform, we also do community medical outreaches. And our next outreach is coming up, and that will be from in October, our Independence Day outreaches. So if you want to be part of it, we will appreciate that. If you go to our
Group page.
our group, everywhere you go, you will see all
You see there.
all the information you need on how to be part of it. I'm showing us on the page now our account details. If you want to support our medical outreach, we're going to Ikorodu. We're going to be in Ikorodu. We're going to be in Abuja. We're going to be in Kwara. We're going to be in so many places. If you want to be part of it, you can always support us, and we'll be very happy to. I just want to show some of the what we plan to do. So we're going to be in Kwara. We're going to be in Abuja. We're going to be in Abeokuta. We're going to be in Abia, and we're going to be in Lagos, Ikorodu. And then in Abuja, we're also going to be in Abuja. So if you want to be part of this program, please go to our page, and you can support us, and we'll be very happy to have you. I don't know whether there's any other thing else we need to tell them, Vivian, before we go.
I think that's all for now. All for now. You join us again next week, Saturday, for another live video, for another interesting topic. And our doctor will be here present with us again. Thank you very much for viewing. We appreciate you. Always stay with us. Yeah. And we'll say goodbye for now.
All right. Bye. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye.
Bye, everyone.